Radio.
This is All India Radio. You will now hear comments from the press. The Hindustan Times in its editorial titled Understanding Modi's Flight Plan writes, "Hopscotch in diplomacy can be a sign of confusion, but in India's case, it is an indication of multiple interests." Prime Minister Narendra Modi's latest international itinerary, France, Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates and France again, is a tale of three major international priorities of his government. The first and most immediate is containing the international reaction to the ending of Jammu and Kashmir's special status under the Constitution. France has emerged as the most dependable and consistent supporter of India at the United Nations and other forum on the trickiest of issues. The Abu Dhabi royal family has been influential in ensuring a large part of the Arab world has remained neutral and even supportive of India's Kashmir shift. That Modi will be given the Bin Zayed Award amid the present furore is telling. At the Group of Seven summit on his return trip to France, Modi will get an opportunity to directly make India's case to three leaders of the Security Council's permanent members plus all the major Western governments. He will have to explain to Donald Trump that his chances of buying Greenland are greater than his chances of becoming mediator to the Kashmir dispute. The double French stopover is a reminder of a longer-term shift in India's defense and diplomatic partnerships. The Times of India, in its editorial titled Chidambaram Arrested, says Wednesday marked a high noon in CBI's dogged attempts to arrest P. Chidambaram over alleged involvement in clearing a foreign direct investment into INX Media owned by the now disgraced Peter and Indrani Mukherjee. Facing trial for the murder of her daughter, Indrani has now turned approver against the former Finance and Home Minister. Going ahead, CBI must now prepare for the real work of making the charges stick. Chidambaram's objection to custodial interrogation, claiming he has cooperated with the CBI, isn't finding takers now. Delhi High Court protected him from arrest for over a year, but in its latest order has termed him prima facie the kingpin and key conspirator based on the facts that the court was privy to. It is essential now for CBI to bring these facts to the public domain through a charge sheet so that imputations and allegations aired through the media can end and concrete legal action can begin. The Economic Times, in its editorial titled Try Income Support in Place of Subsidy, says the Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices, CACP, has recommended a scheme of direct payment to farmers in case market prices fall below the minimum support price, MSP. This is an impractical idea, first tried out in Madhya Pradesh and abandoned after it was found that farmers and traders colluded to depress prices at the expense of the exchequer. Coordinating with other states, as the Commission has recommended, will not remedy this weakness of the scheme. However, the other recommendation that the Commission has to offer of further encouraging farmers to make use of warehouse receipts, which the law recognizes as negotiable instruments to avert distress sales, is perfectly sound. The real solution that will help farmers and the government is to replace all or most subsidies with income support to farmers directly transferred to their accounts. Simply offering price support does not tackle the problem of cropping patterns out of sync with agroclimatic conditions. The Hindu, in its editorial titled New Norms, writes, "Foreign investors who have been fleeing the country since the union budget presented early last month have something to cheer about finally." On Wednesday, the Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, based on the recommendations of the H.R. Khan Committee, eased several regulatory restrictions that are likely to make life easier for foreign portfolio investors, FPIs. Among a slew of measures, the Financial Markets Regulator has simplified the registration process for FPIs by doing away with the broad-based eligibility criteria, which required a minimum of at least 20 investors in a foreign fund and certain documentary requirements. FPIs can now also engage in the off-market sale of their shares with fewer restrictions. Further, SEBI has allowed entities registered at an international financial services center to be automatically classified as FPIs. This might help foreign investors bypass some of the restrictions. Mutual funds with offshore funds too can invest in India, as FPIs are to avail certain tax benefits now. Central banks that are not members of the Bank of International Settlements are also allowed to register as FPIs and invest in the country under the new norms. Smart cities, along with other urban development agencies, will now be allowed to issue municipal bonds to raise funds for development. These measures to cut red tape will help lower the regulatory burden on investors, globalize India's financial markets, and aid the